Why silent people are often the most dangerous. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is rarely the one you should worry about? It's usually the quiet one. The one who doesn't react, doesn't explain, doesn't defend themselves. They just watch. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. Silence is not weakness. Silence is information. Because people who are truly dangerous don't need to announce it. They don't threaten. They don't argue. They don't try to win in public. They wait. And today, I want to break down the psychology behind why silent people often have more control, more awareness, and yes, more potential for damage than anyone else in the room. This isn't about glorifying silence. And it's definitely not about calling quiet people villains. It's about understanding what silence really signals, and why the people who talk the least often see the most. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never look at quiet people the same way again. Here's the first thing most people get wrong about silence. They think quiet people have nothing to say. In reality, it's often the opposite. Silent people usually have too much information. They're observing patterns. They're listening to contradictions. They're noticing what people reveal when they think no one is paying attention. Psychologists call this high situational awareness. When someone talks less, their brain isn't busy preparing responses. It's processing behavior, and that gives them an unfair advantage. Because while others are trying to impress, justify, or dominate, the silent person is learning. Who lies, who exaggerates, who seeks validation, who gets emotional under pressure. And knowledge like that is power. That's why silence makes people uncomfortable. Because you can't read it. You can't predict it. And humans fear what they can't predict. Think about it. When someone talks nonstop, you know exactly where they stand. Their intentions are exposed. But a quiet person? You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're planning. You don't even know if they like you or despise you. That uncertainty triggers anxiety. Our brains are wired to fill gaps with worst-case scenarios. So when someone stays silent, people project their own fears onto them. That's why silence gets mistaken for arrogance, or weakness, or danger. But in psychology, silence often signals emotional control. And emotional control is one of the most powerful traits a human can have. Because the person who can stay calm while others are reactive is always one step ahead. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Some silent people aren't quiet because they're shy. They're quiet because they've learned something the hard way. They've learned that explaining yourself doesn't always protect you. That reacting emotionally gives others leverage. That revealing intentions too early invites interference. So they adapt. They speak less. They react slower. They choose words carefully. Not because they're plotting something sinister, but because they've been burned before. Silence becomes a defense mechanism. And when someone has mastered silence as a shield, they've also mastered patience. And patience is dangerous in the wrong hands. Let's talk about patience. Most people want immediate resolution, immediate validation, immediate control. Silent people don't. They're willing to wait. They'll let you underestimate them, let you think you've won, let you feel comfortable, because they understand timing. In psychology, this is delayed response behavior. It's the ability to hold back action until the most effective moment. And history is filled with examples of this. The loud ones start wars. The quiet ones end them. The loud ones threaten. The quiet ones execute plans. Again, this doesn't mean silent people are evil. It means they operate differently. Another reason silence feels dangerous is because it removes emotional feedback. When you insult someone and they react, you feel powerful. When you provoke someone and they explode, you feel in control. But when someone gives you nothing, no reaction, no explanation, no defense, it short-circuits the ego. People crave emotional responses. Silence starves that craving. And when someone can starve your ego without trying, they hold psychological dominance. That's why manipulators, narcissists, and control seekers hate silent people. Silence denies them access. No access means no control. There's also a darker layer to this. Some silent people are dangerous because they remember everything. They don't confront. They don't argue. They don't fight in the moment. They store information. Every insult, every betrayal, every inconsistency, not out of obsession, but out of clarity. And when boundaries are crossed too many times, their response isn't loud. It's final. That's why silence is often misunderstood as forgiveness. It's not. Sometimes it's just observation. Now, let me be clear. Silence alone doesn't make someone powerful. Awareness does. A quiet person without awareness is just passive. But a quiet person with awareness? That's someone who sees the game. They know when to speak. They know when to walk away. They know when words would only make things worse. And they know something else too. Most battles are won by the person who needs them the least. Here's the irony. The world rewards loudness, confidence theater, constant expression. But real influence doesn't come from noise. It comes from restraint. From knowing that not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every emotion needs to be displayed. Not every conflict needs to be confronted. Silent people understand that presence is louder than performance. And that's why they often rise quietly, while others burn themselves out trying to be seen. So the next time you encounter a silent person, don't assume they're weak. Don't assume they're clueless. And definitely don't assume they're harmless. They might just be listening, learning, waiting. And the most dangerous thing about silence is that you never know what it knows. If this made you think, sit with it. And if it made you uncomfortable, good. That's usually where truth lives.